Today I want to talk about how realistic Gran Turismo is, and I want to do a physics experiment on the Mulsanne straight with one of the LMP1 cars. So when we say how realistic the game is, different issues. The first, how realistic the visual appearance of the game is. In that category, I think Gran Turismo is incredibly sharp and the feeling of the cars and how they respond to the changes that one makes. So in that respect, one metric that we can think of is whether cars in real life act similar to the ones which are available in Gran Turismo. When we say that, I have tried to simulate a number of record laps which belong to real cars, and some of the cars like the Group X, for example, Zonda R, is spot on. Some of the GT3s, one can easily replicate real life lap records, and it's a mixed bag when it comes to LMP1s. So the Group C cars, one can easily simulate. More difficult for LMP1 cars because of balance of performance and business. So, and it's extremely difficult for the Formula 1 cars, especially when you compare the lap times against 2017, those made by either Lewis Hamilton or Valtteri Bottas. So those are incredibly difficult to simulate. So from that perspective, the physics in the game mimics real life for certain conditions, but falls short of other conditions. So in this one, I want to simulate whether it would be possible to flip the cars on Mulsanne straight as we know happened in the past. So obviously we don't have cars like CLR or the Porsche GT1, both of which flipped on the Mulsanne straight, but still we can try to simulate the situation and tweak the car settings such that it should be prone to lift off. And this is the question that I want to get at today. So these are the settings. I just need two laps in the race, and I'll start number 3 in P3, and then the opponent category I'm setting to Group 3, which is the GT3 category, and they will mimic a professional competitive style. And I want to turn the heavy mechanical damage on, so that if the car flips, we can evaluate the extent of the damage that the car will suffer after being grounded. So these are the settings, and off we go. Actually, just before that, I would have more room to exploit the slipstream, and then I will keep the slipstream strength to real, and the rest of it I won't touch. Maybe I can make this the grip on the edge real as well, and the penalties and the other things I don't really care for this purpose. So historically, we know that the GT1 class cars lift off around 200 miles per hour, which is approximately a little over 320 kilometers on the Mulsanne straight. So if we achieve those speeds with settings which would make the car prone to lifting off, then we can answer this question. So in order to do that, we can make our car as light as possible and the output power as much as possible. And then I won't change the tire settings here so that we would have decent grip on the tarmac. When we are adjusting the height, what we can do is increase the height as much as possible for the front so that there will be air coming in underneath the car, and then reduce the ride height at the rear as much as possible so that air should get trapped underneath the car, making it prone to lifting off. The same idea we can also do for the downforce settings, so the front downforce as less as possible so that there won't be a downforce pushing the car from the front, whereas the rear downforce should be as much as possible so that along with the air coming underneath the car should also push the rear wing from top, making it lift off. So the other thing I wanted to change is the maximum speed and the gear ratios so that we will try to exploit a top speed as much as possible. So normally, in terms of driving physics, the cars should lift off around 320 kilometers, but obviously those GT1 class cars were not designed to lift off, whereas we did all the changes possible to make our car prone to lifting off. So I will try two things. In the first lap, I will lead the race to see whether it is possible to take off without the slipstream, and at the end of the first lap I will pull aside and wait until the rest of the cars take over again, and in the second lap I will try to use much of the slipstream to see whether that would make any difference. And because the heavy mechanical damage is turned on, I will try to understand if the car takes off, the extent of the damage it will suffer when it's grounded again. Here we go. So I start P3 now. I'm planning to overtake these cars fairly quickly in the race. This is one of the things that I really find interesting. Whenever you have pro settings which involve the GT3 cars, it's always the M6 BMWs leading the pack, so that's difficult to explain, but overall it makes me feel like the randomization algorithm Gran Turismo is using doesn't produce outcomes which are as random as one would like to have. So we are all alone on the Mulsanne straight now, 350, 60, 70, 75. This is another issue. As far as I'm concerned, Sauber C9s back in the day were able to do 400 kilometers per hour on the Mulsanne straight, which again we cannot replicate in the game, no matter how hard we tweak the settings. Maybe it could be possible if we reduce the rear downforce further down, but I wonder whether that could be a solution to the problem. But as you can see, at the end of the Mulsanne straight without the slipstream, no matter what we did, the car did not take off. So now what I'm planning to do is pull over to the side just before the pit stop and wait until the rest of the pack catch back, and then I will let the cars take me over, and then I will try to use the slipstream in order to test whether it is the slipstream which would make the cars lift off as it would do in real racing. We can rev the engine with impatience. I don't want to push too hard before the wheels are straight, so that I would have as many cars to exploit the slipstream as possible. But so far, in terms of the physics, it's a little bit disappointing that forces which act on the car, the aerodynamics, doesn't fully reflect the principles of real racing. So some people argue that Gran Turismo is never a driving simulator, which I tend to agree, and then those people tend to highlight that other series like Assetto Corsa or iRacing are better suited for this kind of simulation. Already 384. But I wonder whether it would be possible to simulate an outcome like that in any of those racing series. So using the slipstream, it was much easier to reach, I think, 385 kilometers per hour, which is much higher than the speed with which CLR and other GT1 cars which suffered from a flip had in those races, which seems to make the point that the aerodynamics which act on the car is not reflected realistically in Gran Turismo Sport. So this highlights a key point, a room for improvement for Gran Turismo 7, which we're expecting for PlayStation 5. Near the flag. And there we have it, guys. No matter what we did, it wasn't possible to make the car flip on Mulsanne straight. See you in another one.